Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime Symbol. And today I'm back with What If Naruto was the Homelander? Yes, from the boys guys. A recent series that has just returned, another new series. I've been thinking about this idea for some time now, so I'm finally gonna be dropping it. What if Naruto was a Homelander? So yeah, sit back, relax, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs of the other channels. If you're new, I indeed have 3 more. All the links will be down in the description, so go ahead and just click that red subscribe button and join Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3 and be a part of the Anime King family, along with Anime Symbol. So, without further ado, or wasting more time, don't forget to turn on the bell notification as well, guys, because I do post a hell of a lot. So, as I was saying, without further ado, how about we jump right into this? Begin now, guys. We begin this new series with chaos. There was explosions, violent screams. There was chaos everywhere. A great battle was taking place. A wall exploded outwards, sending debris and dust everywhere. 5 sound ninjas were blasted as they viciously slammed right into the wall. They weren't moving at all. A lot of running could be heard as someone quickly rushed into the room, his long white spiky hair trailing behind him. This man was no ordinary man. His name was Jiraiya. He was Jiraiya of the Sannin. He ducked as a kunai passed over his head. He spun around and grabbed the wrist of the sound ninja and pulled him down before slamming a brutal uppercut into his chin. While still holding on to the man's hand, he threw him into the wall. Jiraiya then spun out of the way, dodging a Fuma shuriken as he flipped and slammed his sandals right in the other sound ninja face, sending him through the opposite wall. He held his hand out as a ball of energy, a technique known as Rasengan form. He ran as he plunged it through the wall. He didn't stop as he kept on blowing and blowing, making his way deeper and deeper. As he heard the many footsteps coming the way down the hall, he blurred through hand sign, ninja art, toad flame bullet. The screams of those that were caught in the technique could be heard reverberating through the entire base. The Sannin heard something, Jiraiya-sama. He turned as he saw a few Konoha ninjas standing by. These were the elites of the elites. They were the Anvus. He immediately knew that. He shouted towards them, "He's here. We can't allow him to be taken once again." They all nodded as they flashed off, tearing through the base. Bodies of sound ninjas were falling one after the other. While that was going on, Orochimaru of the Sannin was just returning back to this base when he was stopped by a few of his sound ninjas. He quickly told them to explain. Upon telling him that Jiraiya of the Sannin was here, along with approximately 12 Anvus from Konoha, the Sannin cursed as he asked about their numbers. Unfortunately though, majority of the sound ninjas were already slain. It was just them that were left. The others that were still in there were no doubt being cut down. A furious snarl escaped the Sannin, bloodlusted look in his gaze. Orochimaru quickly hopped up in the tree nearby, going to the tallest branch, as he gazed out towards the clearing, when he saw 2 of the Anvus emerge, followed by Jiraiya, holding something within his arms, as the other Anvus quickly emerged behind him, stepping away from the underground facility. The envoy to the left went through hand sign. The place started to rumble before. Violent explosions went off, ripping the base apart from the inside out. Sir, Orochimaru turned when he saw. Standing behind him was one of his own sound ninjas. They're more heading this way. The Sannin cursed under his breath. He was bloody furious, but he had to keep himself in check. We're leaving. Now, he said, as they proceeded to leave. Cursing, the Sannin did the entire way as they headed off. Time skip. A few years later, 3 ninjas, clad in masses, were surveying a very large mansion. As one of them returned, making the number 4, I found him, but as usual, he's surrounded. The one in the center spoke. Our orders are clear. We are sending a message. All we need is his head. He glanced up towards the sky. He can handle the others. Call him in. Yes, sir. The other one, reach up to his earpiece. You can begin now. No survivors. What about the land? A young voice replied back to him. We're sending a message. That was all that he said. Understood, the other voice spoke. Let's move. With that, the 4-man moved. The mansion was large. Whoever owned this place, this entire island, was vastly wealthy and important. Well, he was no longer going to be vastly wealthy and important. Something came down from the heavens. The guard towers. As they were standing there, 2 guards in each of the towers were the first to see it, a black blur. It was nighttime. It crashed hard, shaking the place, its fist causing the ground to be destroyed. It slowly emerged tall. The spotlights that were on the guard towers immediately shined on him to reveal that it was a young boy, no older than 13 years old. He had blonde, spiky hair that was pulled back, blue eyes, calm, calculated as he gazed around. He was dressed in a black and red uniform. It seemed like a body armor, fitted with the boots as well. There was no visible weapon on him as he calmly stood there. It came up towards his neck, stopping right there, as it all seemed to be connected as one. The red markings outlining a strange pattern in the suit that he was wearing. The moment he was spotted, they shouted, "Take him down!" Without hesitation. Whoever he wasn't supposed to be here. Immediately, ninjas flocked down to his side. These weren't your average thugs. Each of them had proper ninja training. However, they strayed from that path some time ago. That made them perfect for this kind of job. The first one to rush in from the left whipped out a small blade, a standard blade, black hilt, silver blade. He swung it. Despite the age of the person, that was not important. They were given only one specific order: to slaughter anyone that tried to come here and after their boss. Unfortunately though, his wrist was easily caught. A blood-curdling scream escaped the guy's throat as his wrist was snapped. The young boy picked the blade as he proceeded to flick it. The blade split into the skull of the ninja. 2 jumped down, blurring through hand sign as they did. A combination attack, wind and fire. They launched the inferno that swallowed the ground down below. However, the child simply flew right out of it as he gripped them by their throat, moving so fast that he was able to catch both of them. He flew them straight up in the sky before he simply released them, as he then turned and flew straight down. Upon coming down, he grabbed their faces. When he made contact with the earth, their heads exploded. All the ninjas now staggered, confused to how a child possessed power like these. This didn't make any sense. He was actually flying. Techniques were launched from a distance as they realized getting too close would result in their deaths. All sorts of techniques, many of them combining together. A violent explosion tore through the entire place. It destroyed everything. Meanwhile, within the depths of the mansion, "Go now!" A man, 6'2", dark hair, blue eyes, said. As many of his guards flanked out, two of them remaining by his side. The man seemed nervous and worried, as the two stood by his side, ready to defend and fight for him. Meanwhile, as the ground was destroyed, one of them stepped forward looking for a corpse, or the remains of one. Only four, something to be seen through the smoke in mid-air. That is when it came, two beams of light. It cut right through him, severing his body in half. Not just him, all those that stood behind them. The child then flew forward as he pushed his hand in a guy's chest, breaking every single thing in his path. The man collapsed. He grabbed the man by his leg and started swinging with such ferocity that when he hit the other guy with the body, well, it exploded. He then flew in the sky as he came down on the guard posts. He destroyed it, causing the two guards who were launching kunais from a distance to fall down. He wasn't done as he flew through the wall, breaking it down. All the debris and stone fell on them. He then flew in the sky as he came down and squashed them, their bodies being destroyed under the rubble. Every other guard, all of the other ninjas rally up, a swarm of them standing a distance away from him, all of them preparing themselves as they drag their blades, ready their hands. However, he simply scoffed, pathetic. His eyes start to glow red once again and fire. Screams ripped out of their throat as their arms were burned off. Some of their heads exploded. Some of their chests was caved open. Bodies fell pieces by piece. A few of them quickly scattered. He flew as he grabbed the guy's head. He didn't stop as he moved. He slammed it. As the guard post was pointed outwards, it ripped through the guy's skull and came through his mouth. He then turned, the others running for their life, realizing the danger that they were in. As he slowly landed and started to walk, he reached down as he picked up a piece of stone. He started to rub his thumb around it, to even it out. The guy jumped over the wall, intending to leave. However, he threw the stone with such force, it split through the guy's spine, caused him to scream out as he fell on top of the wall. The young child then appeared on the wall, landing beside him, before he squashed his head with his boot. The others jumped over as they started to rush towards the waters, fleeing for their life. However, he merely landed on the sandy beach that led to the ocean as he noticed a piece of the broken tower, an iron piece. He held it up as he pointed towards the guy's head as he ran. A smile came on his face as he flashed forward, just raw speed, until he was perfectly lined up with the both of them. He threw the iron rod. It split through the first guy's skull and split into the second as their body fell. A smile on his face. He levitated off the ground before he flew through the wall. He ripped the wall apart as he ripped through the next building. He started to zip-zap through the place at inhuman speeds. He was destroying everything in his path, causing mayhem and destruction. Upon arriving in front of the massive mansion, he saw the four standing there, one of them holding a scroll. They gazed up towards him as he stood in the sky, his eyes glowing red, and everything was destroyed. Well, except for the mansion. Time skip. Two men that has had their problems through the years sat within the same room. Hiruzen Saratobi and Danzo Shamira. Here they were, discussing a very important topic. A few years ago, a young boy was kidnapped. His name was Naruto Uzumaki. He was kidnapped by one of Konoha's greatest traitors. However, he was found and brought back to the village, only to find out that a lot happened to him while he was taken. So much. And now that young boy was under the direct supervision of Danzo Shimura. A lot has happened in the past couple of years, since awakening strange abilities. Heat vision that could burn, tear through anything. Abnormal strength, super speed, flight, enhanced senses, hearing, see-through vision. The child was truly blessed with these powers. Whatever the Sannin did, it was a once-in-a-lifetime miracle because over the past few years there had been no other sightings of anyone possessing these powers. To this day though, they have no idea of what happened to the Nine Tails. After doing a thorough check, the Nine Tails that was supposed to be sealed within the boy was gone. His body seemed normal and yet the beast was not there. If Orochimaru truly possessed one of the most ferocious beasts, then they were in grave danger. Perhaps the only one that could stop the beast from bringing Konoha down to its knees was that young boy. But there was a problem. Hiruzen was a man that not usually trusts Danzo in any capacity, but yet he handed over such a dangerous weapon to him. Why? Well, it was simple. The child was unusual. He was strange. Sometimes they found him talking to himself at a young age. Not to mention, when he get angry, things always ended up with a lot of deaths. Right here within Konoha, Hiruzen had covered up what happened. Orphans and the matrons. So much death because the child lost his cool. Hiruzen had to find a way to control the boy, despite him being hailed from some rather important people. Hiruzen had no choice. The child was unstable. Over the years he had lessened and calmed down. But still, and here they were. Give it to me straight, Sarutobi said, looking towards Danzo. For the first time in a long while, you could see the uncertainty within Danzo one gaze. Danzo had failed. Yes, he had failed. He was even better than the Yamanakas in breaking someone's mind to bend their loyalty, and yet he failed. He even said it out loud. I fail. Hiruzen looked rather concerned about that. This child, despite the past few years of working with him, trying to control him, I cannot. The seals, they don't work on him. That was another thing as well. The seals physically cannot stop Naruto. They tried before, but it cannot. So that was their big problem as well. The child is unstable, Hiruzen. I've been telling you this for some time and you believe that my efforts could put a stop to this, but I cannot. But there has been nothing for the past few years. Exactly. He's smart. I've seen it. The look in his eyes. That calculated gaze that he gets. I'm not sure that anything would set him off to attack this village right now, but you and I both know that there are things that we've been keeping away from him. And if there's one thing that he hates, it's liars. The child has become more powerful than I ever imagined. Not only his strength, but his skin has become resistant to almost all weapons that I've tried. He believed that it's a simple endurance test. However, my ways of finding any chance of taking him down had led to a dead end. I told you, Hiruzen said. I know, said Danzo. But you and I both know that if something does happen, we have nothing to stop him. What are we going to do? Wear him down? Even if that was a possibility, he would perhaps wipe out half of Konoha in the process before we manage to wear him down enough. And that's a big if. Every single mission that he's been sent on, even if it does not involve killing, using his stealth ability, he prefers it. You and I both know that I would do whatever it takes to make sure this village is always number one. But there is something about him, the ruthlessness, that even is concerning me. So you must can see that something is gravely wrong, Hiruzen. Hiruzen was now getting more and more concerned as he heard Danzo's words. Then what? Hiruzen asks. What are we gonna do about it? Have you found any solution with the blood? They had taken Naruto's blood when he was younger. Yes, they had taken his blood in order to keep it and try to find a way to destroy the blood cells. However, everything that they came across so far was proving to be ineffective. Viruses, anything that they tested up against. They had no idea what the Sannin did, but they could not replicate it. They were missing a huge part of the puzzle, so they could not replicate what the Sannin did to the boy. And the Ninetales was still beyond their reach right now. There was so much problem that they were facing. Everything is calm as we speak. But I believe it's time that we place him back within the light. Now this was a shocking development. It just goes to show that Danzo was concerned. Danzo, a man that seeks power and leverage over all, knew that this boy would be Konoha's downfall if they did not do something about it. I suppose you're right, Hiruzen said. Perhaps bonding and growing with his fellow man is what we need. We can try that, Danzo said. However, I will still be trying to find another solution. We can't put all of our eggs in one basket. Otherwise, it will lead to our downfall. Hiruzen knew that Danzo was a very cautious man. And given the way that he was talking about this situation, it was a very big tell that they needed to find a way to stop Naruto. They have to find a way to stop him if things were to turn bad. From what Danzo had told him, the child does not hesitate when it came to killing. He showed no remorse. He actually believed that many is beneath him, so he doesn't hold back when crushing or stomping out others' life. His personality was a calm one, which was unusual given his brutality. But he doesn't show that side very often, but it was there. Danzo believed that the child was perhaps aware of their sense of fear of him. Yes, he did not know, but he had this feeling that he knew that they were trying to find a way to stop him just in case. As he's grown so strong, stronger than they thought he would, and his ruthlessness was becoming a great problem for them. So yes, they had to be prepared for any outcome. Time skip. Naruto stood in front of Danzo. The man's gaze swept over him. Excellent mission as usual, Danzo said. Well, thank you. I aim to please, Naruto said, a calm look on his face. As Danzo noticed the dry blood on his shoulder, he did not say anything of it though. However, I'm afraid that our time has come to an end. An end? Now what do you mean by that, Naruto asks. The child was only 13 years old and yet he had this oppressing feeling coming from him. Despite the fact that he was just talking, there was this sensation. While Danzo was not afraid of anyone really, Danzo liked to know that he had plans, backup plans. And if he did not have any, he could simply use his root agents to overwhelm the target until they found one. However, this child was a big problem in that department. A very, very big problem. It is time that you emerge into the light. I told you once you begin in training down here that you never truly stay within the darkness, Danzo said. Hiruzen will be taking over from now on, placing you on a team perhaps for you to show the world the true might of Konoha. As I've told you on several occasions, you will be a stronghold for this village. A great, oppressing force to show the other nations that Konoha shall not be trifled with. A smirk came on Naruto's face hearing that look in his eyes. Danzo knew it all too well. While Danzo would have liked to have this boy as his personal weapon, Danzo did not trust him. He did not trust him because he could not control him. Usually, if a ninja become too strong and their temptation is something dark, certain villages found a way to repress them or even get rid of them. And that is what Danzo was trying to do. Find a way to stop him just in case he turned into something that they had to fight one day. And Danzo had this feeling that he would, if they did not fix it somehow. So you're saying that I should show the might of Konoha to all? Naruto said with a smile on his face. I'm not saying that you should start a war with the other nations. Given what we recently have to recover from, Konoha is weak right now. Ah yes. The Nine Tails attack and the Uchiha massacre. A lot of Konoha's strength has dipped, but there's nothing for you to worry about. I am a ninja of this village, and I will not allow it to fall. I will annihilate anyone that try to attack this village. His words sound genuine, his words sound trustworthy, but Danzo just did not trust him at all. It was the gaze, his look. It reminded him too much of him. Someone that was plotting, someone that was playing both sides. That is why he didn't trust him. He didn't trust him one bit. Time skip. Naruto calmly walked through the village. Of course, this was not his first time doing so. However, he was mostly situated within the dark. His life had been eventful and, if he must say fun, he did not understand the purpose of what you call balance. In terms of human, most people were less than most, and yet they believed that they deserved the same. He didn't know why. Speaking of him, he possessed unhuman powers. He was strong, fast. His heat vision, he could see through walls and objects from a far distance. He was powerful, and he was ruthless. He realized a long time ago if you were going to survive in this world, you had to be ruthless. He's never come across a challenge that he could not crush with his bare hands. He liked this village, yes. It has done him no wrong. And he liked going on the missions, because he liked to slaughter. The voice spoke in his head. I'm not listening to you today. Can't you see I'm busy? Come on now. Can't you see what they're doing? They're demoting you, removing you from the high rank missions. Let me guess. They're gonna turn you into some soft little lap puppet. Be quiet, Naruto said. As he was definitely speaking to himself, he passed by a building with a glass mirror. He gazed towards it. Looking back at him was his reflection, but his expression was not the same. You and I both know that they fear your power. You're too strong for them to control, and they need to control you. Something that they will never ever be able to. So they're trying to weaken you emotionally, trying to make you dependent on them. But you are not, and you will never be. How much time do I have to tell you that? They are not like you. To them, you have the powers of a god, and they are just insects, flies on the ground, ants for you to squash. Their purpose is to make you happy. Their purpose is to serve you. Because they need you. You're the one that can change the tides of anything that take place. You're the one that can stand at the forefront of this village, showing the others that your might is great, and none of them stand a chance. So once again, don't fall for their tricks, you idiots. Show them your might, and show them who you are. As Naruto's eyes flashed red, he quickly turned away as he started to walk off. He wondered if he was going crazy sometimes. He never heard of anyone reflection talking to them but his. Oftenly does. However, his reflection always led him down the right path when people tried to use him, betray him. That was something that he hated. He truly hated when people lie and betray him. He couldn't forgive anyone that does something like that. Those people deserve the worst of worst to happen to them. As Naruto decided to take off the ground, many people gasped as they saw that. He was flying as he headed towards the Hokage's tower, shocking many as he did. Many did not know about him. After all, he was in the dark, but now he was back within the light. Time skip. There was a knock on the door as Naruto entered after hearing. To do so, he stepped inside with a smile on his face. "Hokage-dono," he said. "It's been a long time." "Yes, it has," Naruto Hiruzen said. Despite living within the same village, they had not seen each other for some time now. As Naruto walked and stood there, "I believe that Danzo informed you about the new changes going on from this moment on." "Yes, sir," said Naruto. "Is there anything that you would like to say about it?" Hiruzen said. "No, not really. I am quite capable of understanding that it's time that I put my best foot forward as a part of this village. After all, for the past couple of years, I have been serving this village in secrecy. But I can understand that after all the tragedies that Konoha has faced, you guys want me to step forward into the light to show the other nations and all that Konoha's strength is still great." "Yes," Hiruzen said. "However, I won't be able to give you any special treatment. You will have to rise up the rank like any normal ninjas. As you know, all of your file and records that you did while you were within that department has been sealed." As Naruto glanced at the window behind Hiruzen, "See? What I told you, starting from the bottom once again." "But Hokage-sama," said Naruto, "I'm sure that you were more than capable to see that my skills are far above average for any normal student. So starting from the base going up, wouldn't that be an underestimation of my skills?" "Yes, to an extent. But in the eyes of the populace, they have to see you as someone that start from the bottom to rise to the top. Simply introducing you within the system without any formal record or anything that has to do with your connection to the Anvu and many other departments would simply seem unjust in the eyes of many who has been working majority of their life to move up a level. Besides, as you know, that organization is not known to the public, so it must be kept secretive. I hope you understand," Hiruzen said. Hiruzen saw Naruto's eyes. His eyes were moving back and forth between him and the mirror behind him. The glass, the window. "Yes, I understand," said Naruto, his tone seeming calm and quite relaxed. Hiruzen pulled out a key. "I've already got an apartment for you within the west district of the village." As he gave him the location, he tossed Naruto the key as Naruto caught it. He then pulled out a headband. "And now one of these belongs to you. You will be serving Konoha and embodying and carrying the will of fire with you," he said. As Naruto reached and took the headband, "I will do my best," he said. "I hope so. Make me proud," Hiruzen said, giving Naruto the following location and information on what to do afterwards regarding the academy. As Naruto walked, the voice in his head kept on talking, mocking and laughing after him. Called him a failure, a waste of space, an idiot. To be taking such disrespect Unknowingly, his anger started to rise. The ground started to crack slightly as he walked, taking much deeper steps. He calmed himself though as he flew off, heading towards the apartment. It was a large apartment complex. Naruto landed down as he was on the 5th floor, which was actually the center floor, as he noticed several other people nearby. As Naruto noticed someone nearby the balcony, towards the other apartment, he stopped there. She was much older than him, perhaps in her late 20s, or perhaps early 30s. She sent him a friendly smile. As he smiled back towards her, he opened the door and stepped inside. The place was very spacious. Within the root location, he had everything that he ever desired. He was never lacking of anything. They always wished to make him happy. After all, he was one of their best agents. Looking around, everything seemed quite suitable. However, he did have money, a lot of it, as he did get paid for his work after all. And he has been on some of the most dangerous, hectic missions known to mankind. As Naruto decided to rest, to calm himself, forgetting about those dark whispers whispering in his ear. As he went to sleep, while that was going on, many screams could be heard as Orochimaru, the Sannin, was walking on a podium looking down. Each of the rooms had a glass window that showed what was inside. In the first room there was a man. His arms and legs were stretched, as his body was able to elongate. However, his bones were melting, as he was screaming as his body was not able to retain its elasticity. He was melting apart. In the other room, a woman, she was puking up acid, and it was burning her throat and burning out her stomach. The Sannin frowned as he stepped towards the other one. In another room, a man was suffocating, as something was wrong with his throat, as he was gripping onto it tightly. As he then proceeded to barf his tongue, coming out and shooting against the wall, cracking it, before it retracted back and split through his own skull, as his tongue seemed to be made of steel. In the other room, a man was vibrating at abnormal speeds, as he kept on vibrating until his heart suddenly gave out. Orochimaru was pissed off. Compound V, that is what it was called. A special, powerful drug. He was not the one that created this. A team of scientists looking to create something, but they developed something else. However, they put it aside because it was experimental and, well, it was dangerous as well. And they failed to truly put it to the extreme. The Sannin had spent years trying because he saw the potential. However, each of his testing came to a failure, except for one, a baby. His visit back to the Hidden Leaf, Hiruzen had caught on quicker than he expected, as he was forced to flee the village far earlier than he wanted. He fled a long time ago, but he did return to retrieve some important things that he could not get out of there, only to find out that the village was being attacked. He saw everything upon arriving on the scene. However, the Anvus who got there first, he failed to kill them all. So the information about him kidnapping the young boy, the opportunity that he could not miss, knowing the identity of the boy's parents, knowing everything. Orochimaru had him for months, and he injected him, and nothing happened. And that was good because there was no side effect. The child did not die. Orochimaru was looking forward to see the potential of this drug. What made that boy so special? One word came to mind: the Nine Tails. That must be it, right? That has to be. Or perhaps it was a bloodline. The Uzumaki clan was once a fearsome clan, and their genes were quite special. That is what he thought, but he recently got his hands on a Uzumaki and, well, he was wrong. So it was the Nine Tails. Maybe the beast had special qualities. Orochimaru had got himself some chakra from the Eight Tails, the former host a long time ago. However, it failed, so that meant he needed the Nine Tails. Unfortunately though, he was caught. All of his plans were through the window. He left far earlier than he wanted to. Everything was a jumble, a mess. But he was getting results. But the damn Sanin, that bastard who has been chasing after him for years, now caught on to him. And he was forced to flee. Ever since Orochimaru tried to replicate what happened, but he was missing the components, the Nine Tails. However, Danzo had cut ties with him. The man, perhaps realizing that he never truly trusted him, after stealing the host that would make Konoha's strength extremely weak after losing that beast. Something happened though. It was a few months after. Orochimaru did not know what happened to the beast inside of him. But the boy was alive. He was just going to be committing more tests. He actually went on an errand to get some things that he needed, but when he returned, the base was being raided by the damn pervert and the Anvus, so he was forced to let the boy go. However, ever since then he has been off the grid. They've been keeping him well protected. But the opportunity will come though. He's been trying since to try to fix the serum, but as you can see, everything has led to a failure. Time skip. Naruto met the wonderful woman next door. Her name was Aiko. Aiko was in her late 30s. She was beautiful for her age. Upon asking if she lived here alone, he saw the look on her face. Loss. She lost someone. Yes, she did. He had to say though, she was really stunning for her age. Beyond, as she looked like she was in her late 20s when you get a closer look. Her hair was shiny and flawless. Dark. Her dark eyes as well. She was really kind and rather sweet. As Naruto met her the morning when he was heading out once again, and she seemed to be heading off to work. It seems like he already met a friend. He didn't have that much friends in this world. As much as people believe that he hated others a lot, that wasn't the case. Some people were not deserving of his time and friendship or, well, whole personality. They did not deserve his, well, even glance. Some people were just beneath him. People that he go after mostly. But there can be some good people in this world. And he's not that dark and twisted and corrupted. As powerful as he was, he's still just a kid. A very, very powerful kid that stands above others as a god, but still, he's still just a kid. And he would like to make friends. Although, the damn voice in his head was always at him. But sometimes he allowed it to go on. Because sometimes he rather enjoy what he does. Watching the life drain from someone's eyes. Watching as they take their final breath. Or perhaps ripping your throat out so they can't even make a sound. Sometimes he rather enjoy that. Maybe that make him a sick, twisted individual. He didn't know why, but that was just how he felt. Time skip. Naruto landed down as he made his way inside of the academy building. A lot of people were always surprised when they see him fly, but it wasn't something that he hid at all. His clothing was more simply today. He was wearing a black t-shirt, short sleeves. It had red trimmings on it, and red markings that twist around, a style perhaps. He was wearing black pants, as it matched the shirt, along with comfortable sandals. He always liked the idea of a cape, as it flapped in the wind as he moved or fly. He figured adding one to his clothing However, it was a hassle within the organization, perhaps. It's a good thing now, he thought to himself. Making his way inside, Naruto arrived towards the room as he opened the door. Perhaps he wasn't right on time, as the teacher was already inside. The man looked towards him. Ah, you must be Naruto. Right on time, he said. Oh, they were the early ones, Naruto thought to himself. Yes, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. He stepped inside as everyone was looking at him. He was tall for his age, taller than most of the kids in here, but not that tall though. Alright everyone, settle down. This boy here is Naruto Uzumaki, and he will be graduating with you all. So think of him as a future comrade and teammate, Iruka said to them. Wait, where did he come from? A boy with a dog on his head spoke up. And why didn't he have to do all the boring lectures and homework that you give us? What? Iruka said. I mean, Kiba started to stutter. If you must know, said Naruto, drawing the people's attention towards him, as his voice swept around the entire room. I was hand-selected by a very higher up in this village to be placed with a few others because of my special inherent abilities. Huh? What's so special about you? Most of us in here have Kekkei Genkai, and I have very advanced senses. So why were you picked? Can you do this? Naruto's eyes turned red as a beam shot from his eye and fly through the window and fly right through a tree. Or perhaps Naruto said standing in front of Kiba as he levitated off the ground. This. Everyone was shocked, finding what he did so awesome and cool. A smirk came on Naruto's face as he heard them praise him. He doesn't usually receive praises like this. Show off. Naruto snapped his gaze as he heard one of the boys whisper under his breath. His first instinct was to crush his skull, but he couldn't do things like that. The voice in his head was telling him to do so though. However, he ignored it. Alright Naruto, take a seat. Floating upwards, Naruto realized there was an empty seat there. As he sat down beside the lavender-eyed girl, she immediately looked away, her face turning red slightly. As Iruka spoke, congratulating all of them, as the kids already had their headbands. That is when one of them asked about Mizuki, a man that was working at this school. However, he was recently taken by the authorities after being caught trying to steal a forbidden scroll of sealing by the guards. Iruka himself don't really know what happened to him. That was above his level. Naruto heard his name as he was placed on Team 7, along with Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha. However, all of the others came and left. Naruto picked himself up 5 minutes later. Where you going? Sakura said. She didn't really know this boy at all. However, he seemed to be leaving. I'm leaving, said Naruto. What? But we have to wait for our sensei. Tell him to find me when he decides to come, said Naruto. If he plans on wasting my time, I'm not just gonna stand by and let him do so. As Naruto proceeded to leave, Sasuke watched him leave. He liked that attitude. He also felt pissed off, but he had a goal that he had to achieve, so he couldn't afford to be picky and get sent back to the damn academy. He was ready to train, ready to grow in strength. He was ready. So with that, he decided to wait, unlike Naruto who simply made his way off. A few hours later, you know, you're supposed to wait in the classroom. As Naruto was standing on top of the monument. Are you now just arriving? Naruto said, turning his gaze towards the one-eyed ninja behind him. Oh, I got caught on the road of life, and it took up a lot of my time, so I was late. Is this perhaps a joke? Said Naruto. I'm not familiar with joking, so tell me, is this one? No, it's not, said Kakashi. So how about you return back to the class so we can have a proper conversation? I will meet you there, said Naruto as he took off. Kakashi watched him leave. Flashback. Sit down. Hiruzen said. As the man was dead serious. Kakashi, what I'm about to tell you is not known by many, but you're going to be brought into the fold. And you have to be very, very cautious. In the flashback, Hiruzen had told Kakashi about their whole operation and what they believe. Kakashi at first was in disbelief. After all, this boy was the son of his sensei. Hiruzen had been keeping him away from the light after he was kidnapped, as Kakashi was one of them that was informed about the ordeal. However, Kakashi wasn't aware of the changes that Naruto had taken, or the powers that he was now able to wield. Time skip. They seated on the roof, as he was asking all of them about their dreams, hope, and goal. Naruto was last. Sakura was just fawning over Sasuke. Sasuke only had one thing on his mind. The last part of Naruto's answer was one Kakashi didn't expect, as he presumed someone like him, given his personality, would have figured something like that out. I'm not quite aware yet. I'm still young. I'm not sure what I would like to do, but the opportunities are endless and vast, Naruto said. As Kakashi simply nodded at that, telling them that they had a test tomorrow. Time skip. Naruto returned home, only to smell something delicious. It was coming from Aiko's apartment. As he stood there, the door opened up. It was her. She saw him and she smiled, waving him over. You know, I was wondering when you would arrive. Why? He asked. Well, you told me you live alone, and I tend to overcook sometime, and I always end up throwing it out. Would you like some? She asked. Naruto wondered what made her so kind and sweet. Perhaps he was simply living in the dark for too long, and he never really experienced this. He felt this feeling that he couldn't quite describe. For the majority of his life, he lacked human loving and kindness. Yes, I would, said Naruto. She invited him inside as they sat down and ate. The place was pleasant and soft, and there was a sweet aroma. She was incredibly nice. As they talked, it was a difficult subject to talk about, but Naruto saw the photos. Her son died on the 9th attack. Yes, her son died that day. Naruto did not know how to react. He's never truly lost anyone. His parents also died on that night as well, but he hadn't thought much of that either. But he was able to be remorseful to her. Well, fake it, because he just didn't feel such emotions. However, this woman was kind and nice, and she also fed him, as he told her about his day, and that he just joined the academy, but he did not tell her about his past either. With that, he said goodnight as she headed off back to her apartment, closing her door as Naruto returned back to his. Later that night, as Naruto was sleeping, Aiko proceeded to leave her apartment as she made her way. It did not take her that long. As she arrived, how are things going? The man said, Things are going well, sir, Aiko said respectably. As she bowed her head, he's beginning to trust me. Your thoughts on him lacking the emotional, older, individual support and love and caring was exactly right. I've shown it as much as I can, and he's starting to warm up to me. He has not regaled me anything about his life just as yet, about the past, but he's told me about his day and how things are going. I believe with just a bit more time, I will be able to make him fully trust me. Did you make sure that he wasn't aware of your leaving? Yes, sir. Good. In front of her was Danzo Shimura. Aiko wasn't really your friendly, normal neighbor. Neither was anyone in that apartment. Danzo had made sure there was people a part of Root that Naruto did not know, and Aiko was one of them. Every single person within the apartment was a Root ninja. Someone that Naruto had not met before. As Danzo had made sure of that, all of them experiment and understand the human emotion, whole understanding of bonding and caring with someone, so they could speak and act friendly with him. Danzo wanted the boy to be in an environment where he feel trust and secure, so he would relate and tell them anything if he was about to make a move. And Aiko would be the one to play a mother figure for him, a sister figure, anything that he can look up to and trust. But they had to be extremely careful because, as stated before, Naruto hated liars and those that betrayed him. Time skip. Naruto landed down on the field. As Sakura saw him, she didn't much have anything to say. She didn't know him one bit. The place was quiet. Not the talkative bunch, are you two? Naruto said. Well, that was the complete opposite of Sakura, but Sasuke was not. Naruto indeed knew who Sasuke was, but he was not going to bring up the past or say anything about that. After all, that did not involve or concern him. You know you're late, right? Sakura said. I presume you don't understand what happened yesterday and what is going to happen today. What do you mean? He was late yesterday. He was going to do the same thing today. I thought the both of you would have figured that out and arrived later, or perhaps right on time when I did. Sasuke was starting to get interested in this person. The fact that he had walked away and left yesterday, and now that he had thought about that and Sasuke did not. Even Sakura realized his theory was correct. And around 5 minutes later, Kakashi arrived. Sensei, you're late! Oh, sorry about that. A black cat crossed my path, so I had to take the long way around. Meanwhile, at the office, Hiruzen had been watching Naruto through the crystal ball, seeing how his day was going as everything seemed to be fine. Hiruzen had not tell Naruto about certain information. One thing, the Nine-Tail had no chance of returning. The seal was completely gone from Naruto's stomach. Secondly, about his parents. Hiruzen thought it best to not inform him when he was younger and time had passed so much. He feel like he would be telling him soon, but he had to get him into an environment where he can understand. Hiruzen believed that Naruto and Sasuke can perhaps bond together. Despite Sasuke's attitude of being standoffish, maybe Naruto would prove to be a good rival for him. And besides, he was a very intelligent kid, to be challenged mentally as well. So yes, he believed that this group will do him rather well. And Kakashi was based on one thing, and that was teamwork. His life placed him through certain challenge that pushed him to focus on this particular aspect of his life greatly. Teamwork, protecting one's comrade. So yes, Hiruzen believed that this was a very good fit. Time skip. Sakura was on the ground, slowly observing her sensei, wondering how exactly she was going to pass this test. Naruto, he seemed to be really strong and fast, not to mention that eye thing that he did. And Sasuke-kun, well, he was Sasuke-kun. How was she going to... Hi there. Sakura almost screamed as she covered her mouth, as Naruto was standing upside down in mid-air, looking at her. She blinked in confusion. Oh yeah, he could fly. She looked at him still surprised, as he upright himself. What are you doing here? He grabbed the back of her shirt, without asking, as he simply flew off. Kakashi heard something as he gazed towards the forest. However, he pretended like he returned back to his book. Sasuke turned his gaze when he saw Sakura. Sakura being held up in mid-air as she had a hand over her mouth. Naruto landed, making her land, as she looked terrified, just being taken off the ground like that. He looked towards the both of them with a glare. "What are you two doing here?" he said. "There is no possible chance that either of you can take the bell from him if he doesn't want you. Can't you see that this is just a test to see if you will fight against each other for the bells or work together as a team?" They looked towards him confused. "Haven't you heard on multiple occasions that the Will of Fire and Konoha is all about comrades and protecting your fellow man and the village, coming together as one? What does that have to do with anything? As I said earlier, there is no way that either of you can take those bells if he doesn't want you to take them," said Naruto. "You say that like you will be able to easily get the bells." "Yes," said Naruto. "However, that still wouldn't allow me to pass the test. I have an idea for all of us to pass," he said to them. Time skip. Kakashi sat in the office. He was the one that brought them together and showed them the proper way. He's very intelligent for his age as well. He said to Hiruzen, "Yes, I know that," Hiruzen said. "Sir, from what I've noticed, he's not shown any tendencies towards the areas that you have told me about. It doesn't seem that way, but you've just been around him for a few short hours. I had someone watch him for some time now, and they've seen signs. And I have full trust in this person that they can read people and their signs. I'm putting a great deal of stress on you, Kakashi, and I know that, because this can turn really bad really fast. But I'm counting on you to do what you do. These children, not even him alone, but Sasuke Uchiha, they need something to bind them to this village. I need you to show them the proper way. Teamwork, friendship, the will of fire. I need you to truly work with them, not just put them aside and hoping that things sort themselves out. Do you understand?" Kakashi proceeded to nod. While that was going on, Naruto was busy talking to Aiko. The both of them were getting along just well. However, that voice in his head kept on coming back, as the voice did not like Aiko, telling him that she was not to be trusted and that he should rip her apart. However, Naruto had done his due diligence, as Aiko was a very good person. She worked at the nearby bakery. He followed her as she went to work. He also searched her apartment as well, and there was nothing linking her to anything that showed that she was someone else. After all, he wasn't an idiot. He searched every single one of the apartments in the building that he lived in. He was very hard to trust people that easily. But Aiko was different. She was just so commandeering and nice. Besides, if she was some sort of spy, he would snap her neck without a second thought. He didn't like when people spy on him or even lie to him. But she was not, so everything was just fine. As Naruto was being watched from all sides, they knew about his abilities, so they were careful not to do anything stupid. However, nothing can stay hidden for too long. Absolutely nothing. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Bye, I'm off, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.